Hi, welcome to this week's video. My name is Paul. So this week, again, I'm doing some loose, semi-abstract landscape painting. I'm going to be using dry media this week, so compressed charcoal, and adding some color with soft pastels. As is often the case, what I'm going to talk about is not really related to what you see on the video. It's just something to watch in the background. It is still art related, but different. And this week's topic, I think it's interesting. Maybe other artists think it's interesting. But what I'm giving is not some in-depth academic study of this. It's just putting something out there, see what people think. So it's the idea that although people appreciate art and they appreciate having access to art, they maybe don't appreciate artists as much, or maybe they're taking art for granted. This is an idea I've heard many people say in the past. To get actual data, to get statistics that might back up one idea or the other is difficult. There are websites out there that have good data, good statistics, but you have to pay for it. And I'm working on a tight budget here, so I have to go with what is freely available on the internet. And I say that's limited. But anyway, I did find some results that are interesting. Again, they're mainly from the US and the UK. I'm sure other countries produce results as well, but they just don't seem to be on the internet as much. But anyway, looking at these results from the UK and the US, people were asked about their overall experience of art. And most people think that art is positive. They like art and they think it's good to have access to art. So in the US, 81% of people think that art is a positive experience. So 4 out of every 5 people. UK is slightly lower, but still the vast majority of people, 76%. So 3 out of every 4 people think that art is a good thing. But then when people, I should also say art is a very broad topic. So when people hear the word art, what do they mean? In this case, people were associating art with music, movies, paintings, writing, the theater. So it's a broad thing, but generally, let's just say art. When people were asked though, on their opinions of different jobs, different careers, artists don't do so well. So people are asked, do these people make a positive contribution to society as a whole? Doctors, for example, 93% of people think that doctors make a positive contribution to society. Teachers, scientists, also they're well up at the top of the list, top 3, sort of kind of thing. At the bottom of this list, at least in terms of the jobs that were mentioned, professional athletes come at the bottom of the list. Only 11% of people, so 1 in every 9 people, think that professional athletes make a positive contribution to society as a whole. Politicians, I'm afraid, don't do much better. It's slightly higher, but not much. Artists are higher, but only slightly. Artists, 22% of people, when asked this question in the US, 22% of people said that artists make a good, positive contribution to wider society. So that's only about 1 in 5 people think that artists make a positive contribution. The other 80%, 78%, presumably have the opposite idea. So, as I say, it's this idea that while people appreciate art and having access to art in their life, they don't appreciate the fact that it's artists who are making that art. They seem to have a much lower opinion of artists. I have, as I say, heard people say that a lot of people take art for granted and maybe forget that it's actually produced by other human beings, artists. And maybe this is why when governments handing out money to different groups, art groups tend not to get as much. And if there's cuts being made to, say, educational budgets or something like that, it's very often arts and humanities that get hit first. At least that's true in the UK. I don't know if it's true in other countries. Anyway, it's, I think, an interesting idea. Art is appreciated, artists maybe not so much. I don't know what everybody else thinks, or if you have experience yourself. If somebody says to you, what do you do? And you say, I'm an artist, how do they react? In my case, some people just stare at you. Some people think, oh, that's nice. And then other people might say, yes, but what I mean is, what do you do for a living? So the idea that you could be an artist is a job just doesn't seem to register with them. Anyway, it's interesting. Lots of people, very different ideas about artists. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully see you again in next week's video.